Alan Ferdman. I am a candidate for the 2014 City Council election. My wife Pamela and I moved to Santa Clarita Valley in 1965. We raised our 2 boys and have 5 gorgeous grandchildren. And with my mother moving here, we have 4 generations living in Santa Clarita. This is our home. We very much enjoy living here and intend to stay and watch our newest generation grow up here as well. What better reason than caring for family, friends, and neighbors, all who call Santa Clarita their home, to continue to give back to the community, run for City Council, and work toward a Santa Clarita future that is even brighter than it is today. I believe Santa Clarita is currently at a tipping point. We are now the 3rd largest city in LA County. With 205,000 residents, we are planning to grow to a population of 250,000, and that puts us only 20% away from build-out. Long-standing issues such as ever-increasing traffic and density, plus deficits in active parkland, community centers, hospital, and senior facilities must be addressed starting today. We risk losing our family-friendly lifestyle we love. It is also appropriate to recognize that the current City Council and staff for the good things that have happened. Yet I have heard it said many times, today is the first day of the rest of your life, and I believe rather than remaining wrapped in celebration of yesterday's achievements, it is now time we should be looking forward and making every effort to map out our vision for Santa Clarita's future. I did not start down this road yesterday, having the experience of volunteering at our local parks, serving on a dozen committees, having been the chair of the Canyon Country Advisory Committee for 11 years, spending the time to research issues and speaking out regularly at City Council meetings gives me the insight to hit the ground running. Please look over my bio and decide for yourself. My name is Alan Ferdman, and I ask you to support and vote for me, because together we will make a difference. So let me start around my bio. And I also did provide the 8 great opportunities that summarize my campaign, and I'm ready for the first question.
Okay, Mr. Ferdman, please enumerate what you have done for the community of Santa Clarita and real estate over the past 10 years, and why do you deserve to represent the Great Valley of Santa Clarita?
You know, I think that was a great question. And one of the reasons that I believed it was such a great question is because that is the kind of things that we have been doing over the past 10, 11 years. So rather than try to talk about all the things that we've done for the community at large, I actually sat down and wrote them down, and want you to see them as far as so you can look through them. So just to talk about one of the situations, it was about 10 years ago when the Vista Canyon community was suffering the effect of having the homeless shelter in the Via Princesa parking lot. Homeless people were taking up residence in their common areas, bathing in the pools, urinating on the lawns, and that's not the kind of thing that makes a place a desirable place to live or increase property values. So working with Tim Breeze and company for about 3 years, I worked with him to convince the city to move the shelter. And you know what? That's only half of the problem. So while we can declare victory and say, you know, we solved the issue for Vista Del Canyon, we created another problem by now the shelter not having a place to go. So to make sure that worked as well, I joined with Paul Novak. We started a homeless shelter task force and found 4 viable locations to move the shelter. So the whole prospect about this is that it has to be a win-win scenario. We can't take care of one group by harming another. We have to make sure that we look at the community at large and come up with rationale that gives everybody the benefits of our actions. So we help the Vista Del Canyon homeowners, we help maintain their property values, and we maintain the city function. So those are the kinds of things that I have been doing, and those are the kinds of things that I want to continue to do. To have that understanding that a council person is a person that goes out in the community, looks at individual problems around the area, and goes to solve them. Not just sit at City Hall and bang on the gavel. So what was your second question?
You want me to?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
What are the 3 important issues you wish to address to accomplish as a city council member should you be elected?
You know, that's an amazing question, and one of the things why I think that it's something that I worked with before was, if you can see in my bio, I spent a lot of time in management at a good sized company, and as your sphere of influence increases, you get to take on new adventures, new departments, and when that happens, a lot of times you have to assimilate. You have to find out what the group's thoughts are, why they act the way they act, what their goals are, gain their trust, and establish a working relationship. The same thing will have to happen as a new council person. You have to do that same thing with the other council members and with the city staff. But even though while you're doing that, you're really trying to establish the priorities of how you're going to work issues. There's culture things that you can certainly work on. One of the main things is equal representation. We need to look at the way our city functions and realize that every person in the city, no matter what their ethnicity, no matter what their religion, no matter what language they speak, no matter how much money they make, no matter where in the city they live, deserve equal representation. And we need to make sure and establish a culture at City Hall that happens for each and every person. And you can see in some cases where to establish an inclusive relationship, there are some things that have been left out. As an example, we were talking just the other day about people that are hearing impaired. We go down to City Hall, there is no facility for them. And we need to work with different organizations to make those kind of things happen. The next thing is that council members don't just run and sit in a seat. It's a job. It's some actual work that you have to accomplish. It's going to take time and effort and energy. And so, as an example, a couple of months ago, when I watched the council vote on 700 pages of city ordinances without discussing any of them, you realize that that's not the kind of a situation you want. You want to make sure that the council members who make the rules know that the rules will be enforceable, know that they're going to be the people that are going to adjudicate them, get the complaints, and be able to modify them when necessary. So all those kinds of things, those cultural issues, are things that I think you work on at first and then establish your priorities. And once the culture is established, then you'll start to see all the big issues get chipped away one after another.
Thank you, Alvin. It was